some cool shit happened on our side that
It's a good subject. I mean, like, what's really happening with those? Like under the hood.
right? Like the ones where like you can see the bottom half, but you can't see the top.
Right.
Right?
So you lost so much, you need to resolve to nipples. Sad.
Oh, okay, all right. It was too gay. Now it's not too gay. Which one is it? Could you fucking pick one side, please?
I like how you guys think like level means curved at 8 inches per mile squared. That's pretty wild.
Well,
Is
what's
that?
wild about it?
Yeah.
What do you know what's wild about it?
Is the con?
Is it level horizontal?
So
Is that
no,
horizontal?
the level is
No?
concentric to the center of whatever you claim to be the center of it, either be mass or nipple centricity. Because like you can have a complete centrifugal nipple, you're right, where the aureolus is completely circular, and you could say like the aureolus is concentric to the nipple's center. But if it's a little bit ovalized, you might be like, oh, that's more like Earth's orbit around the sun.
Well, like, or you could be like you was tried. He got a surgery where they're shaped like stars, like 5-pointed stars.
It cost a lot. I'd honestly talk like it took like a GoFundMe to get there, but yeah, it was hard.
I pledged $42 in that GoFundMe.
So like when you
honestly, I didn't think it was enough.
Level, you think it has like a curve to it. It's like a bend to it.
Yeah.
No, that'd be a straw man. That would actually be a straw man of the.
Oh, right. You guys think it's locally flat everywhere, right?
No, so that would also be a third straw man to the second straw man, which is a conflation of the first straw man.
Do you want to actually state your position instead of talking about fucking nipples?
So you don't understand nipples? Is that what you're telling me right now? Can you understand how a nipple is like centered at the center, and it might be somewhat like? Have you ever seen a nipple?
I really don't.
Let's start here.
Bro,
have you ever seen?
Just stop, or I'm gonna leave you on mute. That's it. Please stop being a degenerate. Please stop.
What the hell, dude?
Just stop immediately. Have a real conversation, or you'll be removed. Because we'd like to actually listen to something interesting and intellectual. Please stop.
That's the gayest thing I've ever heard. Let me go on mute.
Thank you. Now let's get something better going than that.
Okay, I would say level is curved, yeah.
And why do you justify it to be curved? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, you heard of reciprocal zenith angles, right?
Yeah. You basically take a theodolite on one side and then a theodolite on another side, and you're basically taking a measure an angle to a star.
Well, angle to each other, or I guess I forget how.
You got to be clear when you say angle.
Well, angle above horizontal. Well, I've heard about like angle above horizontal to each theodolite.
All right, theodolite is just taking a bump blob, measuring the direction of gravity. The azimuth is, and I forgot the terminology, and the vertical angle. That's all.
Well, yeah, and reciprocal zenith angles would support the idea that verticals diverge, and therefore horizontal, or therefore level, which is going to be normal.
How do you Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Or so level, which would be perpendicular to normal, which is the direction of gravity, would be curving if the verticals diverge.
And what deflection are you really talking about here? Deflection of the vertical, like what? Arc seconds, arc minutes?
Well, depends on your distance.
What's a reasonable distance to actually measure two zenith angles from each other?
I mean, well, let's see. So, what, 70-ish miles is 1 arc minute. So
70 miles? 70-ish?
Yeah, because, well, it's 60 nautical miles, which is 69 statute miles, so I just rounded to 70. But 70 would be too far. I'm not sure.
Okay, so
I
to
probably
get one
probably
arc
shouldn't have.
minute of deflection.
I probably shouldn't have brought up this argument, and I don't know it too well.
It's a bad argument because you're talking about optics to measure the ground.
I mean, my favorite argument is celestial navigation.
But don't do all of Shane and all of the good boys over there use
Yeah,
objects in the sky,
theodolite.
to
Yeah.
measure the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, you basically are taking your guys' internally consistent system, right? Because it's all ratios, right?
Well,
1
you can
degree,
say that, but you haven't proven it. No, hold on.
One to-
Don't
Are you gonna just
don't.
interrupt everybody, Demon Stride?
Are you
gonna let
proving?
people
Are you gonna prove it? Right, hold on. You're claiming it, but are you proving it right now by saying the thing you're saying, or are you just like saying garbage
just
because it's?
unbearable by nature,
Are you?
or did you just
Yeah, by
end
nature.
up
But
this
will
way?
you please prove what you're about to say by what you're about to say instead of just
I can't even
claiming it
talk
like
because
truth?
you're interrupting.
I'll go on mute, but please don't forget to prove what you're about to say.
Jesus Christ, Seafoam. I'd rather talk to you because you're like, you can have a decent conversation back and forth.
Yeah, Demon Stride is just a real ass.
I'm a piece of
around.
shit.
Yeah, he's a piece of nipple. Sorry. Well, when it comes to celestial navigation, the thing that really convinces me Earth is spherical is the last step. When you plot the circles of equal altitude, they will only ever intersect if you plot them over a spherical surface. They don't intersect if you plot them on a flat map.
Yeah, but aren't you taking circles of equal altitude based off of the celestial sphere, which is at a fixed height?
Okay, so like the data collection of celestial navigation, I think would work the same exact way on a globe Earth versus a flat Earth. So the collection of data with your sextant and your GPS and all that, that's fine. That would work on a flat Earth as
But-
well.
But
It's
you
the
know
final
you have
step
to
where you plot them.
Right, but like if you're talking about a sextant, okay, you're just taking angles to stars, right?
Yes.
You're already assuming a flat baseline, even after a dip correction, right? Based off of like how high you are off the boat. So you take a dip correction, right? Basically to zero out to the horizon, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Now you can get an angle to a star,
Yes.
right? So in order for that to actually correspond to a globe, you have to put fictitious observer at the center of the ball because that's where your actual
No.
zenith is.
No.
Yes.
The quote unquote flat baseline from a sextant is just your local horizontal.
Exactly. And
At your
that's
eye
the only
level.
way you can do it.
But you can you can use a bubble sextant. And bubble sextants don't suffer from dip correction or anything. They measure the angle directly from directly from vertical.
Okay. I mean that's literally there's no curved baseline there. This is what I would say. Because
Well,
they're both just in terms of both conceptions, it's just a conceptual tool essentially, using the stars to navigate, but you're basically just taking angles to stars. It doesn't prove the sphericity because if you're basically taking the celestial sphere, which
Yeah.
is a perfect sphere, right? It's a perfect idealized sphere. If I get my zenith from the center of a ball, like look at Stefan Mudd's picture. You see that right there? You see how the only way to get your radius is to start from the center of the ball.
Well, the celestial navigation doesn't really assume a radius.
Yeah, it does.
It just assumes the 60 nautical miles per degree
right
relationship.
And the only way that works in terms of the distances being copacetic is by having that 3959.
Well,
on a
sphere model, yes, but
right,
you would have to agree.
Sorry.
You would have to agree with
Isn't
me
that kind of the
this,
point?
You would have to agree with me that the 60 degrees per nautical mile is a observed phenomenon, repeatable, that does exist, correct?
I mean, when these,
The point is, you have to assume that zenith is from the center of a ball, though.
No, you just zenith is just the opposite direction that gravity pulls, or whatever downward force there is. That's a whole different subject.
Zenith is directly up from your down position.
Yes.
You could pull a plumb bob, and you could pull a zenith from the plumb bob if you put a laser on.
Exactly.
That's Seafoam. I didn't. Why are you such a son of a bitch? You fucking stupid glober! I swear to God.
Team stryde. I'll see you guys.
And that's exactly what a oh, there he goes.
sorry, I mean, we kind of glossed past it, but Biasticles said like the only way that works is if it's a sphere. Like, isn't that kind of the point?
I guess so. I mean, the thing is, what I like to talk about when I argue celestial navigation, I agree with flat Earth up until actually plotting the circles and finding your location. Everything would work on a flat Earth. Using a sextant works perfectly fine. Finding a GP with the nautical almanac, that works perfectly fine on both models. But it's really when you get to the end.
How about finding more than one? All right, so does the flat Earth model, if you're finding one GP, what if you're plotting 3 GPs that you can see over your head? How does more than one star calculate into the flat Earth model over the globe model when you're doing that celestial navigation? Because I know GP is like the globe position directly over, but like when you're calculating angles to the other ones, when you're doing celestial navigation, not just GPs, I guess celestial navigation, because you are calculating to the other ones based on a graph. How can a flat earther argue that they're getting one GP of a star and then calculating the other 2 or multiples? What argument do they have?
I mean but that's like exactly what doesn't work, because you have the GP, but also the angle of the star gives you the radius of the circle of equal altitude. And I think it is very reasonable to agree that the circle of equal altitude plotted over any map must be a perfect circle. So when you plot these perfect circles over any flat map, none of the GPs and none of the circle's radii are correct.
What about the dual?
Intersect?
What about the bipolar, or the one that has the 2 poles on the flat map? Have you seen that one? The one that
I have. Well, that's just an AE map, just centered on the Greenwich Meridian, and that's one of the funny things I like about the dual pole map, that it just so happens that the direct center of the Earth is also on the Greenwich Meridian.
But do those circles that you're talking about being calculated with stars, do those map to that map as well, or is it only the globe?
Well,
That is a globe.
you could absolutely plot the GPs on the dual pole map, and you could absolutely plot the circles of equal altitude, assuming well, that's the thing. Assuming the constant radius gets really hard because of the shifting scale on AE maps as you go toward the edge. So whenever I would do it, I would just choose the scale along, because on the AE map, the scale from the center to the edge on a radial line is perfect. There's no distortion of scale along those lines.
Exactly.
So I assumed that was the constant distance. And when I did that, none of the circles intersected at one point. Most of the time, one of the circles would just not even touch the other 2.
Now, what if we were to apply flight maps with the time spent in flight and distance traveled along the ground? Like, does this confound any of those maps? Like, does that fuck with it at all, or is that something we should just disregard?
Haven't tried it, but I would assume that it wouldn't make sense.
Well, we'll just all right. We don't worry about it for now. Like nobody's actually gonna like calculate that stuff. So we have good arguments, to keep this argument going for a couple years more. Al, I could definitely keep going my side and your side. Like we're good until somebody like gets money to run those flights to gather the data like a flat earther would need it. We didn't need to go to like nipples or anything for that calculation or buttholes, right, Gio?
Can I just say, I think something that often gets lost in these conversations about maps is we're kind of assuming the reified uh, transformation without the scale involved. Like all of these maps translate back to a globe if you consider the distance between the longitudes and latitudes
Uh-huh.
are what we assume they are by other cartographic sort of measures.
Well,
But that makes
that's exactly one of the questions I've had for flat Earth forever now. Is
no, that makes
if Earth was actually flat, then we would just have the map. There
well
wouldn't
that makes
be a
the
billion projections that are all
no,
based
it's
on a
it's the
sphere.
it's the way that he made that argument that like you can have all these things that map back to this, and then the argument is, well, we can have any map and we can scale it to this, and it comes out with the map that you created with your math, and we can just use that math to create all these variations of it. So now me as somebody who doesn't understand math, I can be like, oh, well, you can sit there and explain this very well, and I might sit along like I understand what you're talking about and like, ask, decent questions, but at the end of it, I'm going to act like you know more than I do, and I'll believe what you're presenting me as true because you've convinced me with your good words. But that's, in my opinion, how a lot of flat earthers look at the Aether boys and the Aether cosmology, arguments for Aether and chains and all of their explanations for the hard work they put into their math. Has anybody been
Well,
peer reviewing
kind of.
their math? Like because like they present it, but like has anyone actually like recorded the transcript and then like fed that back through an AI like they used to present it? Because I guarantee you, the AI will tell you the prompt previous to what they got from it.
Well, you can check their math, and some of the math is a little wonky, to be fair. I mean, it's not like outside of
Well,
tolerances necessarily, but the
in their
implication of what they're saying is clearly untrue.
in their last presentation here, I went on and I looked at the model they were using, and what happened was they they have the internal and out like the dome of vision, but when I was rotating their map around, all of a sudden stars were appearing outside of that dome of vision, and I was like, well, what's happening around here? And they said, well, the model isn't perfect yet, but they're arguing it as if it is a perfect model to represent what's happening in our reality, and they actually argue that they've gotten the math better than everyone else. But when I like all I had to do was look at their model, and I slid the scale back and forth, and I found stars and little blue dots that had lines going to nowhere outside of the model that were pointing to nowhere. Like, what are these things? You're telling me this model is perfect, but somehow it's even worse than the Walter Bislin model. Like, it seems like you tried to mess with somebody's previous model that you didn't actually have access to, making, and then you fucked it up. And that's actually what it looked like. If anyone wants to go find their model, I might have a copy of it. Let me see if I can find that.
I'm not going to take the time to do that.
Like all you have to do is zoom out and like scroll the thing, and they decided to not show the parts where the bits were popping outside of the model because they wanted to present a model like it had no problems because it was better than the globe model, which is what they've been trying to do for the last 6 years. I know because I've been there with Shane and them. Shane's position is to hold no positions and throw many stones. That's his actual defined position. If you ask him if he's a flat earther, he will tell you he's not a flat earther. He just questions
Globe
the model.
skeptic.
Yeah. Hold no positions, throw many stones. That was the first thing I learned in Discord from Shane.
That doesn't terribly surprise me. The thing I found interesting with the
Yeah.
they try to relate the globe measurements to like a 6-foot observer looking in the distance. You have the same sort of drop off as what the globe predicts the curvature would be. That
Mhm.
specifically, and then they use the diameter of the pupil for the
Yeah,
angular
but
resolution, something like that.
Because they're
Which
trying to align your existence with God, being that you could have the
sure,
perfect. They want to ultimately get back to that, but they're going to obfuscate it going forward from there and end
yeah,
up at the end
yeah,
with
but
that.
but the
if you look at the
implications of
globe
that is that
model and how it uses to rise and to zenith, that's basically the same thing as the Bislam model is doing.
The
you could say
Bislin
that,
model
but
was
the
made to make
implications.
fun of people that were like trying to comprehend science. The Bislin model was made by a glober who was trying to make fun of flat earthers. And the fact that Shane and them are trying to use that model and like change the metrics in it, and it actually comes up with like errors that I pointed out in the last live stream, shows that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Do not say Bislin model and flat earth unless you understand Bislin model was made by a glober laughing at flat earthers. Bislin
But also,
laughs at flat
Yeah, but
earthers.
it it goes over that 90 degrees to 110 because that is half of your field of vision. Just like I
but
said
the
earlier,
I might
the
implications,
vertical and
the
well
horizontal
implications.
fields
I
that is
might
coming
I,
together.
I don't I might not be getting the art. So I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
real
sorry,
quick,
Chris.
just
No, I
one
don't. I
quick
don't
thing.
think I'm getting. I might not be getting her argument correct. Like it might be beyond that. So I don't want to. I don't want to harp too hard. But go ahead, Manu.
Well, it's based on a faulty premise because the implications of all of that math is that you can change the optics, for example, to bring back half a ship that's disappeared over the horizon, or you can change somebody's height and get entirely different uh, dimensions that we would resolve the Earth to be, or you could just go out on a sunny day versus a cloudy day, your pupils dilate,
Right.
and that gives you another
But
measurement altogether. Like that's the implications
the
of all of that math, none of which actually happens.
well, not only that, the actual explanation in the Bislin model, Chrysalis, I don't know if you know about this, but like in the actual English description of this, it states that you need magic light to bend in ways that are not physically possible. So this is an American
But
person making fun of somebody that's in the flat Earth community. So, and I don't know if the argument you were making was based off of that. So I don't want to go on that. But like when we're talking about Walter Bislin, it's legitimately been misused by flat earthers, and I don't think at this point it's such muddied water. I would rather understand what your interpretation of it was before I try and like shoot anyone down for holding it as a position, because that's how bad flat earthism has gotten in the last 15 years at this point. Because like I have a lot of flat Earth friends. Like I'm not saying anybody who believes flat Earth is dumb. Like we don't have to go there. I have flat Earth friends here. I got flat Earth friends everywhere, and whether you're not or not, Chrysalis, you're my friend. I don't want to disparage you. But when we're talking Walter Bislin specifically, um, maybe we should have like a good like town hall. Maybe that'd be a good way to address this. A town hall, not a debate, but like a town hall where we have like representatives, from like Globe and Flat on both sides. Be like, what do we think about this? Should we even be talking about this? Is this a part of an argument that even goes
I don't know if
forward?
that'd be
Because
better.
like,
We should be talking about the azimuthal plane, which both models use from the
there
North
we go.
Star out.
What do you mean by that? Like, let's go there. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, let's azimuthal
Because
plane. Like, how do I establish that?
that's a 360-degree circle around you, around observer, the
At
ground
what time
underneath
of
your
day
feet,
though?
or
What
at
time of
eye
day?
level.
Because like I can like, how do I establish it though? Because when I look up, either the sun's above me or the moon's above me, and sometimes at night the stars are above me. So how do I establish where I'm
Yeah,
at
but
based on this plane?
even your globe model is based on that 90-degree zenith the sun is making from the horizon to the top of the sky. So
Right. So
to say
I
that
get the
that is
analemma.
exclusive to a globe model, that
No, I get the analemma.
it's
Like I can
based all
capture that.
based on how a sextant works.
Okay, so you're talking about your baseline to the sun, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you think if think about this? Imagine if everyone in here right now, we got like 15 people in here right now, and we might have people like across like if we could spread out across the equator, okay? If we could find everyone on the Discord here and just only take people that are on the equator. And at like let's say where we suppose in the globe model there is like one half of this globe that's lit up for the portion of the day, and we take only people that are along this equator line, and we have them measure those times and angles to the sun. Would this be a good argument for the shape of the Earth for you or not?
No, because
Why not?
we got hunbats. We got hunbats here in the net in standing all over Europe while when the sunset solist shines straight through that. So to say
Hold
that
on.
that sun is only
I didn't.
bouncing around the equator, that's bullshit.
Well, no, I didn't. I think I didn't hear the word you said. You have something. What about all around Europe? What was the word?
The old hunbats, the old stones that are aligned, and lots of them have disappeared, but there are still some that are still standing. And at sun solist, when the sun is highest in the sky here in the north, it shines straight through that.
No. What I'm asking. No. All right. So let's forget those stones for a minute. Okay. All right. Let's imagine. Um, we erect like with a 3D printer something that has like 3 axes, so it's like 3 legs, and it's standing directly straight up from the ground. Okay, so it's completely straight up from like a concrete level surface. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, like sundial.
Right, and it's got like holes in it, so you can see where the sun's poking through and where it's not. So we can imagine we could send out to everyone within like one of these servers or a bunch of these servers, people that are only on the equator, and they can 3D print these 3D pyramids that erect into the sky like about like 3 feet up, and they have holes in them, and they'll show exactly what shape, like which dot is shown. Like the sunlight will only show through certain many of the dots, or they won't, right? Like based on where they are from the base upwards,
Yeah,
and
but
we
if you
could
really
have,
want to know where the
but
sun really is, then you want to
but that
point out the
but
points where you don't have a shadow on that stick on the earth. Then
exactly
you will know the
exactly
true path of the sun.
exact. No, exactly. That's why we need like at least 10 people based on like the supposed like let's just pretend the Earth's a globe, and we have people saying where they are in the countries along the equator. We could send 3D printed things to those places, or they could 3D print them where they're at, and they could record those things, right? And they will either show either the exact same degree or a different degree based on the calculation or what you assume the flat earth would make, or the globe earth. And that's a thing I think should be a good maybe even video. If somebody here wants to make a good YouTube video, like let's put that out there. Let's make this the next flat earth argument, or the the next
Would it help if
scientific
you?
experiment.
Would it help if you know,
Yeah, but they
like,
already did that in 2020. Corey
oh, for
Kell did
God's
that
sakes.
Did you believe it?
in the equator zone. Yeah, somebody
What
already did it. They tested both
Oh, good
models.
ass.
So if it's wrong, if it's right, we need to figure that out.
All right, so and which one convinced you of the reality of the truth, and why?
I live in the Netherlands. Everything is fucking flat. I see everything
Okay, so
rise in
you
the distance.
so you didn't. All right, so did you? All right, so they did it back in 2020. Did you care about the result? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah,
All right,
because it
so the
excludes a
result.
little bit. If you take that 45-degree box of the sun, then it
Right,
really says
so the
something
result of
about what the surface is doing.
the result like made a difference. Did you? What was the result?
flat won and globe lost.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Can you link me to this?
Yep.
I would love to see this. I haven't seen Globe losing to Flat in a while. I would absolutely love to see this, because if it is true, I'll believe it. But if it isn't, I'm gonna roast the shit out of it. And I would love, like, either way. This sounds like fun. Like, come on, this, like, maybe me and you go over this together. Like, I don't even care at this point. Like, send it this way, please. Let me see it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's a
Thank
whole
you.
site,
Uh,
flatearthintel.com.
tell your husband also get on Discord, because I want to send him an invite here. You tell him yet?
He's already in the chat. Muis.
Oh, he's in chat. Tell him to look. Tell him to
Yep.
send Demon Stride a message, because I'm looking to send him an invite.
Je, je moet hem even een berichtje zenden. Demon Stride.
Here, I'll say
He's
something
sending
in
one.
chat so he can see me.
But I'm going to the market, so talk to you guys later.
Speak to you later. But yeah, I said my name in chat. Let him respond to it, or send me a friend invite.
Why can't we just build a flat Earth model?
It's too hard, bro. We already spent too much money
You don't need
on other
money.
wars. No. Here's the
It
thing.
is.
Oh, all
You
right.
have to be
Look,
you have
bro.
to be you have to be realistic. So if you believe what you're told about the Earth, then I guess you can go with the story that you're told. But if you question it, or if you want to be independent and say, "Hey, I would like to figure this out for myself," it's unrealistic that a single person like yourself would be able to model the entire realm. Would be able to
Geo,
model.
I did.
be able to model-
I questioned it.
I wasn't
confirmed it.
finished. I wasn't finished. I was saying to be able to model the entire realm and or map the entire Earth. Wouldn't that not be practical for someone like singular like yourself, or even if you had 10 friends that you could do that without a lot of resources and funding and time and energy to do that?
You can't. I've done it. I simulated star trails. I built it. It works.
What did you do?
I use a video game engine and map out the. I just rotated the Earth relative to the sky dome, or whatever the heck you call it.
that's
That's
not
all.
fair. Geo used the video game system to map out astrology situations
And I'm
to
getting
figure out your truth.
I'm
He
getting
knows your.
what I don't care. Nothing against anybody. Like I'm learning. I'm pretty good at this engine. I could make sort of a flat Earth working model, but it only works in one point though. But for the work, it works for the globe. It works very well.
He doesn't speak for us.
So wait, this is you saying you mapped and modeled the whole Earth with a computer software?
It doesn't speak for us. Oh my fucking god!
This man doesn't speak for us.
Is that
the
what you're
fuck do
saying you did?
want then? I just want to fucking stroke your ego with these flat earthers. I mean, I don't get this.
I don't know. Could you hear what I said? Or you said you mapped and modeled the whole realm with a computer software?
No, the stars. The stars.
Those have already been mapped over a flat plane. That's what Stellarium is. That's what every planetarium software in the world maps the stars over azimuthal grids, which is a flat circle for every latitude and longitude on Earth. So the stars are already mapped over a flat plane, have been since the dawn of time.
Bingo.
I mean, the contention with it is whether those azimuthal planes are all coplanar or whether they're all like juxtaposed on the outside of a ball, which is what the globe Earth claims, is that all those azimuthal grids are somehow oriented all the way around a sphere. and then somehow have a small amount of curvature added into them as well, into each one. I mean, at least the contention with people claiming it's a globe, but yeah, the stars have already been mapped over those grids.
Yeah, nobody cares. No, nobody cares about modeling anything, or we just want to argue just for the sake of arguing.
Can you prove it's been modeled? I think that's the problem. Ultimately, is it doesn't matter if you have the model. Showing it to be true is the biggest problem because most people will not witness the observations you could make within the model in their actual reality. They won't look through a telescope, and sometimes when we stream them, they make fun of the things that are being streamed within them. So, at what point is any of that actually helpful? For this argument per se, it's helpful for me because like I like seeing it, fun, it's cool. I'm convinced of it. Makes sense to me, but it's not really convincing for somebody who doesn't believe that it could be the case to begin with, and that it might be science causing it or computers creating the things they claim to be happening in the sky. Ultimately, like, where's the conclusion of the argument here? Like, show me something happening within your simulation that can't happen in reality, and then like map it to something that is happening and prove reality doesn't exist. Then you'll break their paradigm. But until then, that's how they're trying to go about it for yours. Everything you put forward is like dissolved because it's a lie that you've become believed in, or you become disillusioned to. Especially if you use a simulation. Like shit, you're just talking about computer graphics. You never seen a movie? You ever seen a movie where people are going around in space? You can't tell me they can't pretend space is fake. That's the argument. That's the level of argument, should I say. It's disgusting.
Well, dude, some people just want to know what the Earth is. Outside of like arguments or thinking they're going to convince someone, some people just actually want to know what is the
Well,
Earth.
I do too. Do you think I don't want to know what the Earth is, Gio? Do you think I'm just like content with believing what they tell me the Earth is? Because that's the way you framed what you're saying right now.
No, I didn't say anything about you. You can tell me what you think if you want, but I
All
didn't say
right.
anything about you. I just
How
said
about
some
this?
people in general want
Do
to
you,
just.
what about me? What do you think about me, Gio? Do you think I'm just content with what they tell me about the Earth?
I don't know. You could tell me what you think. Are you content or not? It doesn't seem like you are because you're involved in the convo, so it seems like you're still seeking in some way.
So when I come to the claim that it seems unlikely that that is the pursuit of the developer for the claim you're making, I'm not convinced that part of the argument is actually true. Do you think I'm culpable, or I'm arrogant or ignorant? Which one?
What part of what argument? I'm not really clear on what you're saying.
So me and you did like I if I had to, I'd have to say you're arguing for flat Earth, but you would also say you aren't arguing for flat Earth. What claim are you actually making so we can further this conversation?
I didn't really make any claims. I think you were talking about like a software. I don't know that I fully followed everything you were saying. I just came back and all I said was some people just want to know what the Earth is because you were framing it as if like it has to be people have to convince other people or that it always has to be an argument. And I'm just saying some people just want to authentically, genuinely know what the nature of the Earth is.
No, that's a good point. I think most people do want to know what the Earth is. What do you think the Earth actually is, Gio?
Come on, man, tell us.
We don't need black knights from the democratic position of globe Earth society sitting here throwing stones at Geo. Come on, y'all. Losers.
Well, there's a lot of ways that could be answered, but how about for now, I'll
Mhm.
say a plane of existence,
So you're convinced.
a spirit world that is a plane of existence that we exist within and have created for ourselves to experience.
Right, and I don't want to press you on this, but this is something more that you wish exist or you're convinced is in existence.
It just is what it is.
So, like, if you were sitting at a table with your family members and you were praying for good things to come, would you pray for this to be the reality where it is what you claim, or that it's likely an amalgamation of many others that are like within the millions of variables on the outcome?
What what is that question? That's a loaded question, but
Do you all right, so do you wish existence to be closer to what you think it might be, or closer to the uncalculable variable of millions and billions of calculations that you can't comprehend?
well, it's a loaded question. So
It is for a
it's not
reason.
yeah, but that's invalid. It's not a valid question. It's like the old thing when someone says, "Hey, how long have you been beating your wife?" or whatever, just as an example. And if you
It's kind of
if
like
you
that, but
haven't
less. I didn't say you're beating anyone. I was asking is like, do you think it's more like the thing you claimed or less likely? And you can't come to even you can't even put a
that's
button in that one, can you?
it's the example people use of the loaded question, which is why I said that. I
All
don't
right,
have
so
any.
all right,
I don't have wishes to that anything is what it would be. So it's a loaded question. So I guess my answer is I don't sit there wishing that it was what I thought it was.
okay, no, that's good. No, all right. So, like, I think actually what I was asking more was, do you have like hopes or dreams? So, you don't hope or dream; it's closer to what you wish it were versus what it might actually be at the end, which you might actually not even know the actual outcome.
This is just a loaded question sandwich.
Well, no, like ultimately, like you can't know that. Like, do you like we all like I ultimately I'm painting you as an agnostic, where you can't actually ultimately know the outcome. You can just believe that, like, whatever yours is what it is. That's essentially an agnostic outcome. And if that's what you're claiming, I'm fine with that. But like, I'll claim that too on religious stuff. I'm an agnostic, but I'm also an atheist. But if I make a claim like, well, some people this or that, but I can't hold to anything certain, I might be agnostic on it, which is why you had to kind of come in when nobody could have a certain claim towards or against the thing.
You're saying you
You
did?
don't want then. I just want to fucking stroke your ego with these flat earthers. I mean, I don't get this.
I don't know. Could you hear what I said, or you said you mapped and modeled the whole realm with a computer software?
No, this
I'll claim that too on religious stuff. I'm an agnostic, but I'm also an atheist. But if I make a claim like, well, some people this or that, but I can't hold to anything certain, I might be agnostic on it, which is why you had to kind of come in when nobody could have a certain claim towards or against the thing. You know, some people need a white knight. Like Geo's the best white knight. Like nobody's claiming the thing right now. Geo comes in, swords drawn. Like nobody has to claim a thing. I agree with you totally because no claim can be made because we don't actually know truth unless somebody has a flat Earth claim, and I would love to argue against it. Unless we're going to go into food health, and at which point I'll just probably log off again. Flat Earth is fake and gay, bro. No one?
That's great.
Like, seriously, nothing? Come on. Seriously. Come on. You got something. Mainstream science is truth, yo. It's woke. Woke AF. Make your kids gay. Just joking about the last part. Kids are already gay. Oh shit! Should I bust out the guitar? Anyone want to hear the guitar? I could sing a song.
Would it really surprise you to find out that the government did lie about the shape of the Earth?
Oh no, it wouldn't. Absolutely not. It would have to be shown in a way that made logical, conducive sense that like 1 + 1 = 2. Because as so far that flat Earth presented is like, hey, 1 + 1 only equals 2 when the government's telling you. And that's the way the flat Earth argument tries to present this logic. FYI. But do you want to hear a song?
Yes.
What do you want to hear?
Hot shape box.
Well, the last thing you said, you were framing some kind of flat earther as if that was some kind of universal thing, because that's not how anyone who says the earth is flat, they don't always frame it in that way. Many people would just say the earth is planar, it doesn't have curvature, there's no measurement of motion, like nothing to have to do with the government. The fact that the
No, you're
government is
wrong.
lying, the fact that the government is lying is a caveat, or it's an additional factor, because if they're telling us something that's false, but
No, you're wrong. So those are the arguments you make, actually, pretty concisely, almost every time. A lot of the time, flat earthers make dumb fucking arguments because they can't back up the logic that they've believed for the position they hold. And depending on the flat earther I talk to, the logic falls apart and frails long before the conducive sentence you just made right there. But if everyone like concluded with the planar earth and then the shit you just said, they'd probably be better off. So maybe they should start, adhering to one doctrine instead of the the failed logic and bastardized, thinking that is left in their addled brains when they try and conclude with an argument.
all right, I'm just trying to see if we can have a conversation that's based on just what's happening right now. You keep making all these claims about other people and what you think they've said in the past.
Me and you can.
Back to what I was
Me-
asking you, like what? So you would not be surprised if the government was lying about the shape of the Earth, and you
No.
think they could pull it off?
No, all right. So yeah, so for me, absolutely they could, because I don't know the math to prove, like, that's why, like, the fact that there are people making arguments based on math that I can like point to and be like, that logically doesn't make sense, and all I have to do is ask a couple questions to string their logic, because I've talked to mathematicians and they can legitimately do the thing I'm asking them to, and it doesn't take me to understand math to get somebody who knows a thing to do a thing. But when I know somebody who doesn't know a thing, it's very fucking easy for me to fucking to thread the needle and dislodge whatever harpstone they got stuck in their throat for whatever thing they need to be harping on about. But it doesn't last long.
Okay. So I mean, you think that it is possible that they could pull off telling us it's a globe and it's not, and even convince all these globe people that are
No.
convinced of it that are
No.
they have come in here for years and years and on other channels over the
No.
years.
That's a
And-
different layer you didn't add to the last stipulation. No, I don't agree with that. So the first one I did agree with, that they could lie to people. The second part is, could they lie to people who understand the math and logic? And no, they couldn't. That's the part that I'm like, no. So you have different layers of this. Could they lie to people? Yes. They can lie to the majority of people who don't understand many of the logic bases, as long as like even into the math, the mathematical layers, that gets even more like substantial. Like you could lie to even more people at that point. All you have to get through is that first base layer of logic, and then all you're left with is people who understand math. Well, fuck, you're gonna be able to lie to 90% of the people, because 90% of the people can't do 90% of the math you're asking for. So all you have to get them to do is understand an illogical basis for an argument that somebody can like waffle through like Witsit, or somebody who makes a lot of sense and not a lot of sense at the same time, to make something convincing, which is where I come in and I break that down into like dog shit, and I realize they've been eating dog shit, which is why people don't like me.
Oh, I think it's probably for other reasons. But so what is the
Mhm.
math you're talking about? What math?
What math? Which
Curvature?
math? Which math convinced you that the Earth is flat? How about that?
No, I'm asking. You mentioned you
No, I'm
kept saying
asking
people
you,
that understand
because
the math.
that I don't understand math, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. So which math convinced you the Earth was flat?
What math are you referring to? Was the question.
Which math are you referring to? Is
I
my
didn't.
question.
I didn't mention math. You mentioned math. You kept saying people who understand the
Mhm.
math. So what
So
math are you?
this right now we're in a circular digression, which proves that we both don't understand the math to logically conclude that the Earth could be a shape, whether it's a globe or not. You understand the tightrope we just like locked ourselves in right now? I'm grabbing you tighter as you are grabbing me tighter. You don't know the math, and I don't know the math. Prove to me why you are convinced of the claim you hold now. Go forward.
Okay, yeah, I didn't say anything about me and math. You mentioned the math, and I'm simply asking what math are you referring to?
And I'm asking you, what math convinced you that the Earth
No,
was not a globe?
please go forward. Tell us.
Geo, we're begging for you to tell us how to go forward.
Have you ever heard of the word disgruntled before demonstrate? Well, some people that are atheists, they don't believe that there's anything after death, right? And
Here's
there's no creator. You know, unless there's a simulation theory
Oh,
involved.
fucking.
But
Hey,
here's a
wait,
white knight. You
guys.
there's
got a
more. I
white
haven't
knight.
finished.
Hey,
We got a
guys,
white
Talking what
knight
I
for
everybody
was going
fucking
to
Geo.
come
say.
over here.
Like,
White
if you
knight,
just let
white
me,
knight for Geo. Here we go. Here's the
just
escape
let me
vector.
say for
The
1
worm,
second.
Hey,
the worm needs a fucking air route to get out. Go ahead, Geo.
there's a
You
lightning
know,
strike over here. Fucking hell, let's
people
go.
that are atheists, they feel
Hey, why don't
disgruntled
you? What
because
are you answering for
God's
Geo
not
right now?
real.
Is this your answer for
And,
Geo's question right now? About on math?
and I,
Is this the math
no,
answer right now? Because we were talking about math. Hold on, we were talking about math. Unless you're talking about math, you need to hand it back to Geo.
and no, I've been listening to
No,
you
no,
for about
unless
10
we're
hours,
well. No, I'm
and
sorry.
I just want to
All
say
right. Well, if
something
you,
that
I'm
I've
sorry, Geo, please mute
observed
him. We're
by
talking about
listening
math.
to what you
I'm gonna bring
say.
it back to math.
And it sounds
He's
like
just. Hold
because
on.
you're an
We were talking
atheist
about math.
and
We
you
were talking
don't
about
believe
math.
that there's a
No, we
God,
were talking about math, not
you pretty
atheism.
much feel there's no hope because you're going to die and you're just going to go back to the earth like worms. Like you don't have any hope, and that's why you're so disgruntled.
Yeah, no, that totally goes into what we were talking about. Yeah, worms and earth. Yeah, thanks, man.
That's
People that
shocking.
are atheists,
You weren't
they
even
don't
talking
have
about
any hope.
anything. He's like,
I'm
oh,
fucking
yeah,
shocked.
he was posturing for half an hour, projecting nonsense and admitting that he doesn't know math or logic, but appeals to the authority. What is it? What is the topic, dude?
No, that was Geo's position. Hold on, all right. Me and Geo were talking about whether somebody can understand math or not, and somebody started talking about dirt and worms. Okay, so when I explained to Geo that he doesn't understand the math and I don't understand the math, so when he tries to appeal to math as the ultimate
You're doing it
When
dignifier
again.
of
you're
what.
an atheist,
You,
your
you're
soul is
asking
I'll
empty.
loaded.
You
mute
have
You're
an
myself.
doing
All
empty
it.
right,
You're
soul.
doing it
y'all need
again,
to
dude.
You
whiten up.
know,
You're doing it
empty
again.
soul.
Lion,
He's
it's
an
just
empty
such a
soul. That's what he
demented
is.
exchange. Like, it was so demented. I'm just backing out. Like he's just doing
Wait. Am I
loaded
Geo?
questions.
Geo, don't do that.
Yeah,
Demented right
It really has been. I've been listening, dude. It's been really obnoxious on your part, dude. And I don't know why you keep asking loaded questions and projecting and posturing.
yeah, those three things precisely is what it has been. Because literally, he said to me that he didn't know or that he didn't know the math, and that if people didn't know them, and I just said what math, and then he's flipped around and just done exactly what you're saying: posturing, deception, straw man's, loaded questions, trying to turn it back. It's just completely disingenuous and deranged.
Well, I'll
He's
mute
usually
myself
not
and
this
let you
bad.
get back. I'll mute myself and let you guys get back to underranged mathematical. Hold on, don't interrupt me.
The
I'll let
drinks
you get back
have
to.
been-
Hold on. You don't eat. Hold on, Geo. Don't be disgusting.
Yeah, by the way, Demon Stride, it's not Geo muting you, it's me, because you have been completely disgusting and over talking people incessantly. You won't let anyone answer. You have to wait your turn. You want to make a point. And don't just attack people senselessly and then start rambling on as if you had a point when you really didn't and you weren't listening to the response.
I mean, we almost were having a conversation. Like I asked him a question, and then I just asked him, "What does he mean by the math?" And then it just went off the rails.
Well, I mean, all right. Let me respond to that. It definitely goes off the rails when I get muted. But like, I didn't think you were muting me, Geo, because I wouldn't assume that you were muting. I imagine, like,
You
as
needed to be
correctly that
muted because you were
you're
over
interrupting
talking
me.
people.
You're over talking me at this moment.
I
I
am, you're
agree with
right,
that.
because because what
I,
you're
I'll
saying
mute.
isn't true.
I didn't think Geo was muting me. I knew actually that you were muting me. All right.
No,
So how
I just
about
wanted to
that?
make sure you knew. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Oh, I knew.
Okay.
Can we just move on?
The point was Geo brought up a great point. What math proves to me that the Earth is globe? And I asked Geo what math proves to him the Earth is not a globe.
Yeah,
And it
that's a
became a
two quoque fallacy. You're doing it.
yeah, okay. I agree. Dude, hey, I agree.
You're
I
interrupting.
agree.
Refrain
Okay,
from
fuck me.
interrupting. Okay. So it's a tu quoque, which is essentially like whataboutism, like what about something else in order to respond. You simply were talking about the math with the earth, and I just asked you what math are you referring to? And ever since then, you've been twisting it all around and trying to say that that you know what math convinces me, and do I know math, and what math do you know? Like all these other things. That's all I had asked you is what math are you referring to?
Okay. All right. I will give you several different
Curvature,
maths.
space math, that's all you'd have to respond to, and we could probably try to move forward.
Sure. Okay. Um the pendulum maths, the geodesic maths, triangular maths, satellites, and gravitational masses as they map the Earth surfaces. But like, what? All right, so those are several. All right, we can go there. But the only one I want from you is what math proves to you the Earth is flat. Like, can you we can go over all three that I went through, but can you at least give us the first? We don't have to go over yours. Just give us one that proves to you the Earth is flat, and then we'll go over all three that I gave first before we ever even get to yours. But what's yours?
By the way, I jumped in because I thought it'd be interesting to hear from a skeptic guy who said he did a model on a computer program with the stars. I wanted to hear more about how he did that and if he used like a presumption of stellarium to use all that kind of stuff. It's interesting if he did that, and that would be more interesting than going too coquet. Too coquet, you know. What about your math? What about your math? You know, because that's like not.
Because me and Gio were having an actual conversation between the two of us, but I guess it would be easier for you to save Gio from answering
There's more of a three
one
quoque.
It
question.
has nothing to do with saving.
Okay, here we go.
Geo.
I'll mute myself because you need
You
to
should.
fucking white knight for him again.
Yeah, see, that's not what's happening at all. You're the one that's like being disruptive and vulgar and senseless and lame, just lame in general. And then you're like, no, I'm not lame. I was having a conversation when it really wasn't.
He left, thank goodness. Let's try to get to something better than that. He's ruined the last 2 hours of this whole live stream, more or less. So we can probably get to something better now.
Yeah, skeptic guy. I wondered how you went about mapping the. You said you took the star trails and made a computer model based on star trail information.
Just made a hold on. I use an engine and I put a globe and I rotated the Earth and I touched the camera on top of it and then I did a sky dome. That's all.
Okay, so you presumed it was a ball and made it kind of based on that.
It's not like it's not a matter of assume. I put a sphere on it
Yeah,
and I rotated the sphere.
right.
So and I put a camera on top of it. I coded the script so you can move the camera and yeah, it looks similar to the star trails.
Right. Okay. So what program did you use, by the way?
I use Kodak.
Okay. Do you have like a model we can look at? Do you have like any kind of like example you could put a link for or anything?
I can share it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, it's live stream text one.
Oh yeah, share your screen.
I can't.
I think he needs perms, Gio.
All right.
You gotta give me a second though.
But also on a skeptic guy, when you said, you know, nobody cares, I think people definitely care. If you went like to that, made the effort of like modeling it.
I said, well, yeah, it's also because of that, but it's not. That's not the main reason why I said it. It's like I just listen to conversations, not just flat Earth, but other conversation. It's just like it's always the same bullshit, like percentage model. You have no. It's just.
Yeah, I don't think this place. I don't know. I haven't seen you here before, but I think this place
I
tries to
don't come
get
here
to a little
often.
bit past that. I think that's what the goal is. It may be a lot of people doing the same old, you know, rhetoric some of the time, but I think that the pursuit here, like Gio was saying, is like we're trying to figure out what it might actually be, you know, without any assumptions, and you know that's kind of where we're trying to get to. A lot of us here, so don't assume that about us, I guess.
Oh, he's been here for years.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't noticed.
He's just on a different account.
Oh, okay. What was his name before?
I don't even have that account anymore.
What did you used to call yourself?
Shadow or something. I forgot.
Shadow?
Shadow. I think.
It's Shadow. I remember Shadow. Okay.
Dude, I have a quote from him saved in my folder here.
No.
I have many recordings of him on my channel.
Can I read the quote? Are you ashamed by it now?
Oh, I remember this guy. You brought him up before. He's the one who shifted, right? He shifted.
Repeat the same thing. Let's not go back to that.
Where you used to be a flat earther?
No, I used to fuck around a lot. That's all.
He used to troll as a flat earther. That's what he said.
Troza.
No, I don't think he ever trolled as. I don't think he ever said he was a flat earther. But I think you. But I don't want to be like critiquing. But you used to be a bit.
No, I
more...
think I remember him saying he trolled as a flat earther. I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay.
That's
on that
right,
Shadow account. I don't know if I remember that, but I just remember you used to be more like kind of supportive of it all, a little bit more.
I still am. Like so, or let me finish this up and then I'll screen share and then I'll show you the. It's just a little simple thing. Anybody can do it.
But I remember Gio reading that quote a couple weeks ago. I don't know
Yeah,
how I
what
remember.
was the quote?
I got the
Did you put it
weirdest
in the
memory.
chat or something?
I'll read it.
It's that like the moment you respect the flat earth, the moment society will improve. Something like that.
The moment we start to respect flat earthers, that's the moment science will progress.
Yeah, it's the same as quote that keeps
Yeah.
repeating.
Because I saved it.
That's a good quote. That's a good quote. Yeah.
Quite a hurdle, though.
He's
I mean-
ashamed.
Yeah.
Well, what did you mean by that?
No, I meant what I meant by when I said it.
What did you say? Why did you say that? I mean,
Has
what?
It has nothing to do with about the flat Earth or not. It has to do with the way society presents itself, whether it improves or not, which it doesn't. So that's what I meant.
Wait, you're saying that because the Earth presents itself as flat and stationary, which any
No,
you know,
nothing to do with the shape. Nothing to do with the shape.
I think it just has to do with epistemology. Like you should come at it from at least a neutral perspective, right?
is that what you mean, skeptic guy?
To evaluate it properly. You can't come
Let
at
him
it
say it.
with a bias.
Well, let him say it
Sure.
because he said something about it presents itself a certain way. Like I thought he was being intellectually honest that it does present itself as stationary and level.
It has nothing to do with.
Well, could you explain it?
It means what it says. Like
Yeah, because we all experience it as a stationary level Earth, and we have to start from scratch or something.
Who cares about whether the Earth is flat or not? Like, who cares?
Well, that's why we're here. It's interesting. You would say, "Who cares?" Like, do you think it? Do you think it matters? Do you think it doesn't matter?
Not for that quote. No, it doesn't
Oh, okay.
matter.
Look, the quote is kind of elusive then, in the way that you're treating it now. Anyway, it seemed intellectual at the time. It seemed intellectually honest, and that's what you were getting credit for. But now you're like throwing that away. It seems like
It's still valid, yeah, dude.
No, like it means what it says. Like respect. That's it. Nothing to do whether it's flat or not.
Well,
okay,
why would you put flat earthers in there then? It has nothing to do with being flat. Why would you say flat earthers?
I don't know.
I mean, I can think of a lot of angles that quote could be. Like from the one side, you could say, okay, well, the Earth is flat, therefore science, will only progress once we respect that and start to look at, have more precedence for additional research and things to be done and so on in the modern era that we've been convinced is a globe. But if you didn't mean it that way, did you just mean it like, so even if you think the Earth is a globe, are you just saying that to disrespect flat earthers? I mean, it is weird because like it's our lineage. Like humanity came from flat earthers. Like that's who we are as a people, was a planar stationary Earth for eons of time. And even hypothetically, if it was a globe, and even if these Greek guys came along and said, "Hey, it's a globe now," and then Copernicus, and even if that was the case, why do we disrespect people that still have the original cosmology of humanity? Like that's strange that we don't have like a respect for our lineage. Instead it's like this disparaging, beating down, you're the dumbest person ever, and all that.
No,
that kind of stuff.
that's kind of the main problem here. Like most of it is not like intellectual conversation. It's just like gotcha moments. It's do you have evidence or present your evidence, or rather than looking at the model itself or like building anything, it's just it just doesn't lead anywhere. So because it's mostly just people stroking their egos.
Seen a lot of globe egos be crushed in here. And I think a lot of globers think that globers just argue with flat earthers so they can look good, but they actually don't look good. And I think that's objective. If judging from a lot of the conversations, they just don't have anything. They get all turmoiled and everything else. With the conversation, and they're just going off reifications and reciting what the globe model supposedly dictates, and all these things. So I mean, I know you don't see it that way, but that's why it's an interesting conversation, because at least from my perspective is that it seems like the conversations are completely lopsided in favor of the people saying the globe does not work at all in so many ways. It's just impossible, and there's other people just like going, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and say this or just not say anything when it's a pivotal moment. They'll just leave. Like it's really, really obvious, I think, objectively, that the globe Earth doesn't have what they think they have. That's why it's interesting, whether they do or not. It's interesting because that's the conversations that are going on for people that, just have no idea. Most people don't even think it's a thing to talk about. They just assume that it's a globe and that this flat Earth thing isn't even a thing, And then we still have globers that have been in the conversation for 10 years coming in, acting in the same way or saying, you believe something like Demon Stride was trying to pin Geo into saying, trying to say he wants it a certain way or wishes it was a flat Earth. Like, that's not at all where Geo comes from. And he's been talking to him for, many years. And other globe earthers that come in and be like, like NASA shill or somebody that's just repeating the same old straw mans that have totally been, far from like the conversation for a while now.
We kind of get that on both sides, though, no? Like, there's arguments from the flat Earth side that have been around for a while that really don't have a whole lot of merit.
Yeah, it's definitely both sides.
Like what?
No pressure without a container, the violation of certain
That's
laws of
valid.
thermodynamics. Oh boy.
Well,
I don't
that's your
wanna
opinion, though. I mean, but
get
like,
into
you
the
have a
whole
problem with
thing.
the
I'm just
second
saying.
law of
Now,
thermodynamics? I mean,
here's the thing, perspective. Like, I believe in star trails. I believe that that's evidence. I believe that that's actually proof in my mind. You say that
I
that's not
completely
true.
agree with you. I completely
So,
agree with you. And there's southern star trails and northern star trails that go through the celestial equator and run parallel and then diverge and converge from each other, which does not work on a globe model, ironically. Star trails debunk the model better than anything else, in fact.
What do you mean they converge?
let me finish this up, and then
I'll put the images again for you. I'm sure you've been here for the conversations where we're actually and Stellarium shows them converging and diverging, and visually, that's what they do. They converge and diverge, go through the celestial equator. They converge through the celestial equator, run parallel, and then diverge. Apparently, not to say that that's actually what they do, but that's what they apparently do. Looking at the star trails, and that's admitted to on the globe side.
I don't admit that.
You don't think they look like they converge and diverge? Let me
Yo,
show
he's
you
about
all
to
the
pull
Depending
up
on how
this.
you set
He's
up your
about to pull
camera.
up the model right now. We'll see how it looks. Model.
Yeah, depending how you set up the camera, if you want to squeeze like 300, 180
I'll pull it
degrees
up.
into like one frame, it might look like that. But when you're looking at it like in real life, the stars themselves don't deviate from their angular distance to each other.
It's probably gonna look cheap as hell, but whatever. I'm learning like how to use this engine too, so that's why I built this.
But I mean, Manufactotum, I mean, you disagree that they diverge?
I do, yes.
So, like this picture right here from the equator, you're telling me that's not what the stars look like? Diverging?
Not in person, no.
Not in person. What do you think it looks like in person? They're all straight lines, or what do you think it looks like in person?
Yeah. So if you turn towards any one, like you turn towards the north or you turn towards the south, they're all perfectly concentric circles, right?
You see, at the equator, you'll see half of the rotation. So you won't see the whole
Right.
thing. You'll see half
Well,
north, half south.
Manny. Obviously we can't see the time lapse in person, right? It takes like a 24-hour period at
Yeah.
least
All I mean is that
to see the.
if you wait over the course of a night and you measure the angular distance between two stars, take the ones in the middle here, right, that start very close together at the horizon. I'm looking at the first picture, the big one, right? They start very close together. You measure that angular distance. When they're above your head, they're not further apart like they are at the top of this photo. They're the same angular distance.
No, not in the north and the south. Within the north and within the south, they stay consistently the distance away from each other. But the northern ones and
At the equator as
the
well.
southern ones do diverge and converge going through the select. And this is in Stellarium. It's also admitted to on your side. They have excuses for it, saying it's camera, wide angle lens, or whatever else. No
Right.
matter what, it's consistently looking that way, no matter what you do, even without a wide
Not
angle
in
lens,
person,
right
though.
at the equator. Doesn't matter about in person. These are all pictures. These are all star trails that people have made in person.
I know. Come on, man.
Yeah, I
Since when is that
understand,
a
but it's a
standard for
camera.
you, bro? What? Yeah, since when in person is a standard for you, dude?
Because you're squeezing a perspective onto a frame that you can look at flat in front of you,
all
right?
right,
When
all
you
right.
look up, the distance is not changing.
Not in
Uh,
every case. There's lots of not using any kind of wide angle lens or any kind of, it's an obvious, admitted to on your side, by the way, apparent diverging and converging. Stellarium has them converging and diverging. That's the way they apparently move. It's not like an argument that, oh, they just don't. Like there's no way they could. They they circle around the either pole, and they're different. They're converging and diverging necessarily.
Okay, think of it this way. In this first picture, right, the top one, the northern rotation, the southern rotation, right? You look at the southern rotation is behind you directly, right? 180 degrees behind. In this picture, you could just turn, looks like maybe 45 degrees and see both of them. You could, this picture is squeezing
Yeah,
both of
like in the
those
10 pictures
into
I
the same
provided
frame.
afterwards. Yeah, just look at the 10 pictures after that first one, and you'll see consistently, no matter what you do, if you get the southern and the northern at the equator, you're going to see
Mhm.
converging and diverging. That's not like
But again,
debated
all of
about.
these
Like it's
pictures,
apparently what they do. I don't know why you're saying
but
they
all of
don't.
these pictures, because all of these pictures are squeezing that perspective into something you can see in front of you.
It
I,
doesn't
You
matter
don't have to
what you do.
turn
There's no
I have
180
speeding
a
involved.
degrees.
I have a simulation that you guys can look at. This is what I was talking about.
There's no way to get them to not converge and diverge if you're getting both star trails.
Sure, there is. You just turn around.
Yeah.
You don't try to squeeze that perspective into something flat in front of you.
There's nothing squeezed, and people do straight on star trails
Like,
at the
just
equator, and that's what
extend
they
it.
apparently do. It's admitted to on your side. Just look into it, bro, because it doesn't seem like you have an argument at all. I'm not going to
I
keep going back and
have.
forth. You say,
If you
no,
go
they
to
don't,
It's
because
Stellarium,
fine. You're
they
just not
do.
understanding what I'm telling you.
what the fuck are you guys talking
Yeah,
about?
right. Okay, then what are you saying? That somehow these circles are still running parallel, even though they're circling in opposite directions?
Yo, he's
Yes.
sharing the screen, you guys.
Well,
Oh,
I mean, dude, if you look up on any like AI, it will all say that the stars do appear to converge and diverge at the equator. I'm not saying
in
AI is always
photographs.
right. I'm not saying AI is always right, but I mean, it often does represent the mainstream view. The thing is, they don't deny that it appears that way. They just claim. Oh, are you going to show your screen share? Show it. I was just saying this
It
one
only
thing.
appears that way in photographs, is what I'm saying.
No. That's not. That's not. No. What the mainstream model claims is that they do appear to converge and diverge, even to the naked eye, cameras, all that. They do appear to do that. They claim it's
To the
like
naked
a
eye,
yes to the naked eye, to everyone's eye. The thing is, they just
I don't
claim
agree with that.
they claim it's a perspective effect, kind of like the train tracks converging, diverging. That's what they claim, and then also because they claim that the circles of stars going north and south are related to the latitudes, and then the globe model claims that you're on a ball and that the actual orientation of the ball is actually, changing as those stars are over those GP points. So
That's not going to make a difference. I go too far away for the orientation of the Earth to matter. The issue with the train tracks is that you're looking at a length, like down, you're sighting down the length of it, right? So you have things that are closer that are wider, things that are further that are closer, but the angular distance, if you were to look at those train tracks like from straight up ahead, up above, if those train tracks were to circle around you like two hula hoops, so to speak, that's more in line with what we would expect the star trails to. Like the train tracks is kind of a weird, it's not quite analogous. Like the effective perspective wouldn't be the mechanism here.
Yeah, but you'd get the same star trails if the sky was moving, dude.
That's possible, but it would have to be moving as a sphere around you, rotating around you. That's what you would see.
No, that's just an optical illusion due to perspective. Sorry.
Perspective is in the mechanism here. Perspective doesn't make that difference.
You're just going through an illusion thinking that you can see depth in the stars and it looks like you're looking down a tunnel like a tube. That's just a trick to your eye. There's no way that you can discern which stars are closer and which are not. It's just an illusion.
That's my point. That's my point. That's why perspective doesn't matter here. It's because you're not seeing a depth of field with the stars. They're all at optical infinity. It's all as if it were on the surface of the inside surface of a sphere. Right? That's why
But
perspective
how
doesn't
do
matter.
you know they're going underneath the earth and not just going away?
The
You
sea
can
level is
track
level up.
that one deck with ladder turrets.
Wait, Skeptic Guy, were you going to share your screen or?
Yeah, hold on.
I mean, I know we kept talking, but I was looking forward to seeing what you had there.
I clicked it and it disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, Manufactotum. I mean, they claim that it's due to perspective, but that they are converging and diverging. And then what I was saying about the orientation is that the globe model claims that you're on a ball and that the ground is actually the orientation of the ground at each latitude. And that's why they have that curved effect at the different latitudes because of the fact that you're on a ball. That's the claim, the globe claim. So I was just adding that to it, but they do claim to appear to diverge and converge on the globe model. But I think what Dave's saying is that they are actually converging and diverging. And the difference with that would be the shape of the ground, because if you have a curved surface, the ground is essentially diverting away versus the stars. So it's like one or the other.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
they want
I
to
mean,
claim that somehow the ground would affect what you're seeing in the sky now.
yeah, I don't agree with that. I think the
Yeah, you
difference,
couldn't,
like
because
you can
it
make the
wouldn't.
argument that because you're at the surface and the rotation happens at the center, that might be a difference, but that difference is so minuscule. Like even that wouldn't really play a part. Like whoever says that they appear to, if they're not talking about like just this compression effect in photographs, I disagree with that.
Well, I know you have to because you think that it's a ball no matter what. But earlier
No, the
on, you were talking
geometry disagrees with that.
well, the geometry of the presumption that it's actually a ball and those stars stay parallel all the way around a ball, right? That's the assumption. So to prove that it's not a dual pole flat Earth, you'd have to actually have visual documentation. Not that that's necessarily proof of anything, but you would have to follow it all the way around the blue side of the ball, and those stars that go parallel through the celestial equator have to stay parallel to each other all the way around the ball back to the very other side of the celestial equator, which we don't have, like somebody out at Point Nemo, shooting star trails showing that those stars come together on the other side of the ball. We only see them come together through the celestial equator, and then they converge and diverge apparently. And then we don't have any good star trails or any star trails that I know of from the blue side of the ball showing that they come around and make a ball. So it's very easy if it was an electromagnetic field that looks just like that. That's what the stars make in the sky, an electromagnetic field over a flat plane. It only works that way. It doesn't work on a ball at all. And if you could somehow show that it's actually a ball by going in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on the blue side of the ball and show that those stars are doing the same star, parallel action somehow, then you would have an argument. But right now, all we have is the observation of them running through parallel through the celestial equator in that one equator area, right? Not the sun equator, the celestial equator. And then they converge into that, and then they diverge away from that. We don't have them running parallel all the way around the ball. That's what you would need to actually argue against this.
I think insofar as we have them in the night sky, they are running parallel.
Through the celestial
You can say
equator,
we
you
don't see
don't
them.
have the night sky from the blue side of the ball showing that.
Yeah, you can say we don't see the stars during the day. That's fine, but we can track them. We know when they're going to appear
That's
on the
not
other
what I was
side. I
saying.
think that's.
It's not what I was saying. You'd have to go to
What do you mean
nighttime
the blue
on the blue
side of the
side of the
ball?
ball. Well, whether they stitched it all together, because the dual pole, the idea is, if you look at the model map I just put in the live stream, that's the ocean that surrounds all the areas, right? And then what they did, if it's a dual pole flat Earth, what they did was they took the top and the bottom and the sides, and then tied them all back into a ball, imaginary ball form, And then you have on the other side where the Point Nemo and all those islands are, where it would be the blue side of the ball that they show us when you turn the globe around and it's all water, you know, that's where they hit it. Because who's going to go give us star trails from the middle of the ocean where those stars would have to be shown to be parallel there too, to show that it's not a dual pole flat Earth.
So people do travel those waters, right? There are people. I don't know
Yeah,
anyone
absolutely. And they're
nowadays
either
that
on the
does like celestial
outside.
navigation. I have like modern technology and all, but I don't think you could find errors in the almanac, for example, or mistaken distances. I know people like to say they hide the distances in the ocean and such, but I mean, I've not seen evidence of that yet.
Well, the guy that I made this map based on E1's research, and I don't know if you even heard any of the stuff that he's. I'll send you the videos, but he's saying he's used the celestial almanac. I mean, the almanac, nautical almanac, to place all the stars, right? And it's consistent. And the Weems and Plath wheels, which if you take, which he did, he made a custom, slightly scaled down version of the Weems and Plath star wheels that are like the go-to nautical supplier. And if you took the north and the south, and they have it front and back, so you can't really see, maybe that was intentional, because if you take the north and the south and you put them next to each other, it all lines up the way he has his map, right? He just used the nautical. He
Yeah,
didn't
but
use
if you
stellarium.
say,
He got rid of all assumptions that it was a ball or flat or any of that. He just used the nautical almanac information and the Weems and Plath official star wheels, and it all lines up the way he has it on this map.
well, if you say that it all lines up with the almanacs, then this is just a translation of the globe.
No, because it's
Yeah,
not. The
he's
nautical
right,
almanac
dude.
just gives you basic data. It just says where the GPs are, right?
No,
Because
but
the nautical
it
almanac
doesn't,
might
dude.
also say it's a globe. They have to be consistent with where they say the stars are over a certain piece of land, right? And it has nothing to do with being a globe.
It
It does, dude.
it does though.
Nautical miles versus statute miles. Nautical miles includes the curvature of the Earth, dude, of the sphere. And
Well,
the almanac, bro, that data in there, they didn't like actually independently verify each one of those data points, dude. That's all computerized. That's all pre-calculated in advance. Just like
right, but
Stellarium, just like SunCal, just like all these other softwares. So I don't know why people appeal to the almanac like it's gonna give you actual data,
because
dude.
because you can strip it down. There may be nautical information in the almanac that claims it's a ball, but if you just go by the GPs, and that's what he was doing because he was using the Weems and Platt star wheels, right? Which don't assume
Dude,
a ball.
E1,
It
dude,
just shows
E1
you
is
where the
not a good
GPs
source,
are.
bro. Respectfully, dude, E1, dude.
I know you have a bias, but that's okay.
Not even a bias, bro. He really doesn't know what
Seems
he's
like it.
talking
You
about, dude.
came
I
and
don't know how
attacked
he
him.
convinced you, dude.
You didn't convince me, dude. He was on here, but since you were attacking him about
Bro,
God
yeah,
or whatever he said about God,
I'm gonna challenge his claims like anybody else would. It doesn't matter if they're
that's
globe or
fine.
flat earth, they're
But that was
globe
more religious
concave,
based.
dude. You're saying I'm biased because I'm challenging his his baseless
No,
claims, dude.
you were biased about the way he had like the dark and light, and it was more of a religious challenge that you were coming at
It
him
was
for.
not no, it wasn't just about a religious challenge, dude. First of all, if we're gonna trust a guy who has a demon, right, on his profile pic, I'm gonna
That's what
ask
I
him,
meant
dude,
by bias.
why do you have a demon on your profile pic? And he was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was the dark and the light. Anyway,
yeah,
that's
but
where your
that
bias
wasn't
is coming
that had
from, and
nothing
you're
to do with
showing
that.
it now.
That's just you character assassinating me because I'm challenging his claims. You're saying it's because I'm religious biased. No, dude.
No. I'm saying right now. You just said if you're gonna trust a guy who has a demon on his logo, which it wasn't a demon, it was whatever it was. You're
It was
judging
a
it.
demon,
You're
dude.
judging him
It was a
by the
demon,
thing, which
dude.
is all I'm saying. There's a bias, whether it's valid or not. It's a bias.
That's not why, dude. I didn't, dude.
It has
When I
nothing to do with
challenged him
what he did with his map.
regarding Egypt being the where they're supposed to start the meridian, I asked him why Egypt. That's what he thought that they changed it because of the Masons or whatever. That's a
Okay,
bias in
well,
itself.
No, it's the ancient prime
we
meridian.
can get what we were talking about though. To get back to the point, is what I was saying is that the way he's got his map laid out here. is it shows the latitude lines, going in their concentric circles, but it more fits what an electromagnetic field looks like, right? And so objectively, you might agree that the star trails do look like they're converging and diverging, and we have southern star trails and northern star trails, and you know that the Earth is not a ball. So we have a flat Earth with northern and southern star trails objectively, right? And the way to show that that's not true would be to go to the middle side, the blue side of the ball that they show us, and show the star trails from those all over that blue side of the ball to show that they're not converging and diverging, or that they're actually going parallel through there. That's how you would debunk his map, right? Not by whether he has a demon in his logo.
No, and yeah, so you're just throwing that in my face because I also brought that up out of curiosity. Why do you have a demon on your profile pic? You act like you're a truther, right?
No, you
That's
just
kind of
said,
like,
why would you trust a guy who has a demon in it? Trust what he says
yeah,
about the
dude.
map based on the
That
fact that he has a demon
that's a
in
side.
his
Yeah,
logo.
that's a side. Yeah, I brought that up as a side
That's what you
issue
just
because I
said. I
also
didn't say that about you.
that's
You
another. Yeah, I
characterized
wanted.
yourself.
Yes, dude, I wanted to challenge him on that too. I wanted to address that. That's a side issue though. When I was challenging him about the sidereal rotation of the Earth and the prime meridian and the ecliptic and the precession of the equinox, it has nothing to do with me having a religious bias. I would do
Yeah.
the same thing with the Christian. I would do the same thing with Taylor. I would do the same thing with Taylor. Taylor was promoting that nonsense.
Yeah,
Has
and that was a
nothing to do with
respectable
him having a demon on
conversation,
his
right?
profile.
No,
That's just
right.
you
Okay,
trying to.
I
That's
agree.
just you trying to poison the well and character
No.
assassinate
All
me
right.
because
If we're
I
going,
have
if
a
we're going on
problem with
that
him having a demon
conversation,
on his profile. But
no, it's that
just
you
for the
brought up
record,
some
that's
good
a
issues.
side
Wait, on
issue.
that.
That's a
Okay, that is
side
side. Okay,
issue.
we'll leave that aside. We'll leave that aside now because you're the one that just said, "Why would you trust a guy?" And it was like, "Why would you trust his information about anything based on that?" But leave that aside. You had a great interlocking with you guys. I didn't think you were right. I thought that you weren't understanding. We were talking past each other. I was there for that
No, we
conversation.
weren't
I
talking
recorded it.
past. No,
It's
we
on my
weren't talking
channel.
past each other. We weren't talking past each other.
Well,
The guy was just
then
plain
that would
wrong.
be a conversation to revisit with him at some point, right?
And
But do you
like I
understand
said,
what
dude,
I'm saying? Do you
if
understand what I'm
no,
saying
hold
about
on, bro,
objectively?
hold on, dude. Before you keep poisoning the well, if
I'm
Galley
not
or
trying to poison the
Torah
well.
or Taylor or any of my Christian brothers and sisters came up with the same fucking claims that guy did, I would be challenging them too, as
Okay,
passionate as
fair
I am
enough. Good.
with
I hope you
E1.
would. I know you would. In fact,
What?
you've gotten really good at debating. By the way, I have to give you a compliment that you've gotten a lot of things right that have challenged the ballers in a way that you never used to. So you've come a long way, and I think that what your conversation with E1 was about the diverging and about what was it about? You guys were talking
It was
about
it was a bunch
the
of stuff, dude.
wobble
I
and
honestly,
how
I barely
it was
remember.
a lot of
It was
things, yeah. But I remember it was about the cycle and how there was a claim of the stars moving, in relation to the sun, and I think that I wanted to revisit that with you at some point when it was, maybe he was
yeah.
around,
I
because
barely remember, but
he was
did
explaining it
he
that the
say that?
sun moves, the stars don't move. And you were saying
He
there
was
was a
saying there was
shift in the stars, but he was saying there's no shift in the stars. It's just modeled that way for the globe
yeah,
because
yeah.
actually the sun is shifting, not the stars.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he didn't believe in the procession of stars,
No. It
which
wasn't
I
about
found.
believing in that. He was saying that's what it looks like if you're seeing it the way the globe makes it with the wobble of the ball. But he explained it to me in a separate conversation that it's not the wobble of the ball, it's the way that the sun moves through the stars that they have to claim the wobble for. It's not the stars shifting, it's the sun shifting.
Bring him in here, dude. We can, we can get the party popping. It's all good.
Oh, it's like 4:30 in the morning. I'm about to go to bed, but anyway, I don't want to get away from what we were about to see with skeptics guy. He's sharing a screen. Are you sharing this on the live stream, Gio?
Yeah, you can see it on the live stream.
I bad, dude. Go ahead. Let's see it.
It's like a little video game that I made.
What you got for us?
It's kind of a cheap ass.
Go ahead, dude.
But I made it.
All right, so are you gonna play it? Nice.
It's
playing.
It's nothing. These are just the controllers.
Okay.
So what this is I'm just learning programming. I'm just learning Gorak and how to use these engines. But this is just a sky dome. This is.
Do you know
This
what the
So-
depth of field is on this?
I have no fucking idea. Oh, the I don't know. It's 1152x648 or something. I know I'm only learning how to use the engine. I'm not like a computer expert or anything like that. But yeah, this is a globe. It's rotating. We're on that green planet. It's literally rotating. And it's just a sky dome. That's all this is. So this is the star rising east. This is north. This is setting somewhere right there. And
But you said you had star trails like they were going in circles and they seemed to line up with it. How did you
No,
base this
they-
on star trails?
no, they do. It's just a little simulation here, but like if you, I can try and speed this up and restart this.
I thought you were getting like the star trails converging and diverging at the celestial equator.
Yeah,
And
it does. It would have a celestial equator. Let me speed this
Yeah.
up. Let me reopen this.
So just from what you were showing there seems to be an effect just as you're tilting the camera. That's doing basically what we've seen in pictures. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but
What you said?
so as you move the camera left and right, you can see stars off the edges come into the center frame and get closer together.
The north equator would be somewhere in there.
Dave, do you agree that it's a
Hello?
toroidal sky and toroids have spherical geometry and that's why the sky has this spherical thing that can be extrapolated to the ground in the globe idea?
Yeah, it's two oscillating toroids basically.
You can sort of see it here, though. You can kind of see that there's like a little center of axis.
Can you go to the celestial equator and see the southern and northern right next to each other?
This is the north. This is the North Pole facing up latitude.
Yeah, then go to the middle where can you go to the middle where the south comes in?
Yeah, I can. I had to like set this. Give me.
Yeah, see, like right there, there's a distortion happening as it comes into frame and goes out of frame.
Like this? Or where?
It looks like a funhouse mirror.
Exactly.
You can kind of see like a little like changing of the axis of rotation from here. And this is like when you go a little further, you can kind of see that little weird effect. But that's because it's just our orientation that changes. It's not the,
Well, can you make it like look west, basically, like where the sun would set? Is that on here?
yeah, it is.
Yeah, can you put the guy at the equator
Yeah, we could. This would be
and look east or west?
Yeah, we
That'd be
could.
perfect.
Because Lonnie, I mean what Dave said, don't you kind of agree that we like objectively have two rotations, there's GPs. If you were to go to one of those stars like close to the North Pole, like close to Polaris, and you were to follow the GP, you'd be going in a circle, a larger circle, larger circle. Then the ones in the south, and then the ones in the south, the opposite, and then the ones at the equator. But isn't that a good point that like you'd have to keep going on the equator, and if they kept going like around a ball, that's what the globe claims. But like, how could it not be a dual pole if that's all happening?
I understand that's been a big mystery for me that I have not been able to reconcile. There's no resolution as far as I know between the AE type of diagram. The thing is, dude, I'm not even denying that there's an actual axis of rotation in the south. And apparently there's interferometry experiments that show that there's actually a reverse bias for the preferred direction of light. Like in the north, it literally goes in the same direction as the sky. From east to west, the light travels a little bit slower from west to east in the north. And in the south, it's the same direction as what it seems the sky's actually doing, dude. So in the south, the light travels faster from west to east, opposite of that of the north, dude. Now, why would that be the case if the Earth's supposed to be spinning in the globe's all spinning in the same direction? The only reason that it looks like the sky's spinning the opposite way is due to perspective. But apparently,
Look,
apparently we
I
have
made a model.
experiments where
It
they've
should look
shown that
similar.
no, there's actual forces that shift as you go over the equator. So that shows to me that there's actual forces that are spinning in the opposite direction in the south, dude.
Know about that.
And I can't explain that over a map, dude. I have no idea.
Well, if it's charging and discharging, right? According to whether it's E1 or somebody else, what seems to be happening is there is a difference in the way that the sun tightens around when it goes around the south as opposed to the north. And what he was saying is that it's charging up in the south, so it has a bit of a different oscillation, and that's why they have to make sure when they deploy these satellites that use the electromagnetic field to swirl around either the north or the south, that you have to know if you're deploying it for the south or the north, because there's a different charge for the north and the south. So it charges up in the south, and then it gets enough charge to go up to the north, and then it starts going around that opposing toroidal field until it discharges, and then it goes back to the south. And that's why the moon, made of a different substance, according to his ideas, is that it's made of a metal that would be different, or a substance that would be different than the sun. That's why it has 12 anolemas, because it charges up faster and goes around its circuit faster, and it has 12 anolemas compared to the one anolema. But because of its material, it discharges faster as well. So even though it charges up faster, it also discharges faster, which is why it has 12 moon anolemas compared to the one sun anolema, which takes a longer time, but it discharges slower and goes through over a 1 year period, which is why that's why we call it a year, right? Because it's one full cycle of the sun through its analema.
Now that we're kind of balls deep in this conversation, I'm curious. Clarifying question for Geo.
Fuck it is. This is just like too much like gibberish crap.
Are you showing what are you showing on your thing here? You showing
That's supposed to be the equator right there. They are diverging and converging. You can see them a little bit at the
They
top
are in this, yeah.
and at the bottom.
If it was accurate to the globe model,
stars,
they would converge and diverge apparently, and you would have to actually see them on the blue side of the ball doing the same exact thing, which we don't have evidence for, which is how they hit it, if it's a dual pole flat Earth.
but you see the stars in the center are traveling slower than the ones at the sides, right?
Thank you, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's how it would work.
Look, I built this independently from the Stellarium, and Stellarium looks pretty similar.
Right, but here, like in this view here,
where?
But you keep moving it.
Yeah, but it's still 15.
Right there,
it's still
right there.
15 degrees. It's still 15 degrees per hour, though.
This is rising straight east. And by the way, this is the equator. By the way, somebody picked that up already.
Sure, but you see the stars in the center. They're going up. The ones, let's say, 3/4 of the way towards the side, they start up at roughly the same speed, and then they sort of zoom off as they get closer to the edge.
Yeah, they're literally diverging.
Well, it looks like a funhouse mirror.
Right,
I don't think it's
but they wouldn't be doing
consistent
that.
with what it should be necessarily. But it's cool that you did this.
No, that's pretty close.
It doesn't look like the stars are making a sphere.
I mean, it looks like a contracted view of what the stars would be doing.
Well, technically, this is an actual sphere, a sky dome.
Well, whatever the effect
I mean,
is, it looks like they're kind of like not moving in the same way that Stellarium has them moving. That's all.
And
good
it wouldn't
job.
matter. It wouldn't matter what the sky dome really is. You can make it a block space or anything. Just put it far away, and it will look pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Keep working with it. Yeah, like I said, I have to go, but yeah, you have to go to the blue side of the ball and show the stars run parallel where they say that they actually would be running parallel to make the full ball. Otherwise, what we apparently see is converging and diverging star trails over a flat Earth.
I really don't know what you're saying.
I had a quick clarifying question for Geo. You said earlier that toroidal geometry is spherical geometry. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think I said that toroidal geometry what's the right word? Like includes or consists of spherical geometric components to it. Toroids.
Yeah, electromagnetic fields have parabolas and hyperbolas, which is spherical, but it's not like a globe. It has a logarithmic curve. Eric Dollard, dude, I was watching a video with Eric Dollard breaking it down, the actual geometry of electromagnetic fields, toroidal fields.
Well, it's just my understanding that toroidal geometry is both spherical and parabolic. It has positive and negative curvature on it.
Yeah, but it's not a perfect sphere.
Well, toroid is in a sphere, is my point.
Well, what is a toroid then? Is it a truncated sphere? Is it a sphere with a hyperboloid in the middle? What would you call it?
It's similar to a cylinder, I suppose, but it's a curved cylinder. So a cylinder that has
They're never very
like
tall though. So
yeah, but so you take a cylinder. Cylinder is all positive, but then you curve it back on itself, so the center is going to have more of like saddle geometry, right? It's
how do
going
you
to
curve it
go.
back on itself?
I don't know how, like it is, right? It's a cylinder. You take two ends and you meet them back at the same place, like a hula hoop.
So, but we're gonna have to pull an angle, right? That we will take from our straight pipe cylinder, right? And then we'll try to bend, let's say, that fascia, which is itself rounded, right? We're going to try to bend that whole arc into itself. We're going to have to actually decrease the amount of available material that's there in order to like join all of these in a graduated curve.
Right. So
So you
what
have
you
a
end up
sphere
with,
that you've made because you're applying a profile of radial to the outside, even though it is not a complete circle. That's not
well, not
cylindrical.
exactly. If you cut that toroid in half down its length, so you have like an inside half and an outside half, the outside half would all be positive curvature. Like you could essentially fashion that back into a sphere if you wanted, but the inside donut half would be all negative curvature. That would be saddle shaped. Like any point on there, you're going to have something curving back on itself and something curving away, right? Like the two axes, you'd have one axis curving on itself and one axis curving away from itself. Like the entire inside would be saddle shaped.
I don't know about saddle
I don't
shape.
know if I explained myself.
Well, I don't know why you guys are making this more complicated than it already is.
We're talking about like what is a toroid? He's trying to classify it as a cylinder, and I'm trying to classify it as like something like a sphere.
I'm just saying that half of it has negative curvature, right? Spherical geometry is all positive curvature.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not closer to being a cylinder, in my opinion.
Maybe
Still,
not. I don't know. It depends how we define closer, but
Like it's about how you create the shape as well. I think that like for its primitive shape, like how does one arrive at bending surfaces around to create it? Or if you want to say it's a cylinder, I could also say it's like, no, it's a rectangle, and then you curve the rectangle, and then you splue in whatever, I don't know, whatever the hell transform is going on to toroidify it from that
you
primitive.
could. There's have you ever heard of Taurus chess?
No.
Actually, I don't know if they've ever done Taurus chess. I know they have Taurus Go.
Oh no, I have. I
Are
have
you
seen
familiar
Toro
with
chessboards.
Go?
I've actually posted them here. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically
Yeah.
like obviously you play on a normal chessboard, but the way it works is you just sort of Pac-Man off every edge. If you go off the player edge, you come back to the other side. If you go off the side edge, you come back to the other side, opposite that
Yeah.
one, right? And that technically what that is a toroid.
Well, it's we're doing a tile mapping around a shape. We call it whatever we want to. But that's kind of the problem because we are not explaining the planars, right? Because like I could take the chessboard and because it's a flat plane, and there's a variety of different transforms I can do with it. Maybe I could turn it into a circle, right? I could do certain things that don't violate its positionality. But I could too,
Kind of.
and then I could just map right over top of it, and then we could call it toroid chess, and then you still are evading my point, which is the fact that you
Well-
need to actually transform it into on the z-axis. It must have a radial, which
Kind of.
would not be
Not
nothing else
necessarily.
possesses that. It's close to a pumpkin. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, it's basically it depends on the rules you set up, right? So in the Taurus chess, if you say that you Pac-Man off each side perpendicularly, so to speak, that would create a torus. If you want to make a spherical chessboard, the rules would be different. You could presumably go off one edge and come onto the adjacent edge, for example. You wouldn't be limited
But
to
the
opposite.
tiling is the tiling, and the rules we can debate about the rules. We can do whatever we want. We could have rules that make for a square, regular, standard chessboard to be Pac-Man, right? If we wanted to, right?
Yeah, but that would be a torus. That would be analogous to having a
Really?
torus board. Like, yeah, that's what those rules dictate. Is the geometry that you're
But no, it's
describing.
not. Like, why would that? Really? No.
It's just another way of saying it, right? You could say it's a square board, but we Pac-Man off the edges, or you say that the edges connect, and that's a torus. Like the two systems are effectively analogous.
I don't know. My brain doesn't agree, but I'll let you explain it.
I don't know if I can explain it any better than that.
All right, that's cool. I wouldn't want to ask you to explain it while I was going to go just to the other room anyway. But yeah, I'll still be right back.
Fair enough.
I mean, just to ask Flat Earthers questions, you don't think the sky trails or the stars are a representation of what a globe model should look like? Is there a yes or no? Can I get an answer?
I don't want
Guess
to answer
not.
for the flat earthers,
Not as well. They're not even
but I
speaking.
suspect they would say that yes, it agrees with a globe, but there's other reasons that it looks that way.
Okay,
That's my suspicion.
I'm cool with that. Because if they say it disagrees, then I don't know how to go any further with the conversation after that.
Is this Stellarium? This isn't the thing you wrote, right?
No, nope, I'm not. No, I could. You can probably find like sky maps similar to this and download it and put. You can actually put an Earth texture on the thing and make it look really good. So
this looks to me more like what I would expect to see in person, and that at the edges it's not doing that weird distorty thing.
yeah. Wait, compared to what I was, or
Yeah, compared to the one before with the green brown.
well, it's not perfect, but you can see that they're identical.
Well, it depends what you want it to do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to take that into consideration.
The what?
Like that distortion is due. I
What are you
have to see
talking
the
about?
actual code. The distortion in your program, when you wrote, the distortion off the edges seems to be due to however your camera is set up. Like whatever virtual camera you have has probably a depth of field and an
Yeah.
angle of view that probably.
All I know is from the engine. It has like an angular size that you can adjust. I put it kind of zoom in further. So
Yeah, there's what
I don't
engine are
know.
you using?
I'm using Kodak. I don't know how these engines are built. I just use them. So
Yeah. Well, Blender has something similar, and you can adjust the camera to basically any. I think they go so far as to include like models of camera and lenses and stuff like that that you can just sort of plug in. But you
I
can
need to take
actually,
I need to take it step at a time.
sure.
So
No, I'm just saying, like, as far as predicting what we should see, there's ways you can do perspective drawing, and I did this in architecture, where you can sort of replicate. If you want to do like a rendering, like hand-drawn rendering of the inside of a room, you can play with the perspective points in a way that mimics certain camera
Dude,
lenses.
I just find it so ironic that now you're willing to speak about depth of field, perspective,
When have I not been willing to do that?
that's
curvature.
cool.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. You guys seem to usually ignore all that when it comes to horizon observation. But
No, we're just
now you
saying
want to bring it. Now
what's
you want to
actually.
invoke it.
I'm happy to invoke it where it's relative, relevant, but
Oh, okay.
sometimes there's
So
other
that
things.
curvature, that curvature of the star trails, that's illusory, right?
Yeah, no, it's just not due to perspective.
But you like this model better, right? Yeah, Stellarium. This model's good. I love it too. Stellarium is good.
Like, for
What do you
example,
mean?
one
It's
distinction
illusory though. It's
that
not
often
actually
isn't.
curving,
No,
diverging, right?
one distinction that seldom gets made, it seems, is when people say that perspective makes things shrink in the distance. That's different from lowering, right? So a lowering effect is not the same as a shrinking effect. The shrinking is due to perspective. Nobody denies that, but lowering is not.
Are you talking about the camera
In
or
terms of
what?
the star trails, I just typed into Gemini, the AI Gemini, and I said, "Is the converging and diverging based on perspective?" I had already asked it a few questions before, so it knows I'm talking about the star trails. It says yes, 100%. It is entirely an illusion of perspective. In actual physical reality, the stars are not spreading out or coming together at all. Their physical paths through space and their apparent paths are caused by Earth's rotation are perfectly parallel lines. Here's why perspective tricks your brain into seeing them converge and diverge. And then it goes on talking about the vanishing point.
Can you ask it a question? And
Hilarious.
I genuinely don't know how it's going to answer. Ask if that perspective effect can be seen with the naked eye or only through photographs.
Oh, hold on, I can ask you that. What's funny here is it says the vanishing point illusion, and then the second part it says mapping a sphere onto a flat horizon. It says because you're standing on a round planet, you perceive the sky as a giant dome, the celestial sphere. Anyways, just funny. It says flat horizon. All right, what do you want me to ask it?
If that perspective effect can be seen with the naked eye or is only represented in photographs. I honestly don't know what it's going to answer. But this will tell me whether I can trust it or not.
I already asked it earlier, and it already said it happens. It says yes, it absolutely can be seen with the naked eye. You do not need a camera to experience it, though it requires a little bit of patience because the stars move slowly. Our eyes see the same exact perspective effects in the sky that they do on land. If you stand at the equator on a clear, dark night and watch the sky for an hour or two, your brain will naturally map this perspective. Yep, and then it says the naked eye fanning effect in the east, the naked eye funnel effect. They're calling it fanning and funneling, the way the stars kind of funnel in together or fan out.
Ugh, all right. I mean, I still disagree with it, but that's what it says, I guess.
But I mean, is this not the mainstream view, though? Are you telling me that people out there
I
like
don't think it is. I mean, it could be that, plenty of Globers are under the same misapprehension. I just, like, if you, okay, if you're inside right now, right? whoever I'm speaking to? Well, let's just say you're inside, right? You go into a room, right? Four walls. I have windows on one wall. I have, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of like rectilinear everything in this room. Everything is like sort of right angles to each other. If I look at the front and then I turn over to the window, right? The window is now a perfect rectangle. If I move over to the front, like my brain is still telling me that's a rectangle, but prospectively speaking, I know that it's kind of trapezoidal, so to speak, right? That sort of shifting is something that you can pick up with cameras. Your brain doesn't really let you do that. Does that make sense? All the vanishing points, your brain understands as being parallel lines converging in the distance, but it knows that they're parallel, right? I don't know if I'm explaining myself at all well.
I mean, kind of. I think I hear what you're saying, but the window, I mean, the door still looks like skewed or kind of, like you said, trapezoidal to your eyes if you move all the way across the room and look at it at an angle.
Yes, but the stars are doing something different. Even with that, right? If you if you're in a swivel chair, for example, and you spin around the room, like you spin around in the swivel chair, the room is now spinning all around you. All of those relationships are going to be they're going to maintain the same angular distance, right? Regardless, even if we take like the two sides of that window, right? Those are actual numbers that we can measure. Oh, that just made me dizzy. Yeah, see that you fiddled with a focal length, and now it's doing the same distortion thing. Sorry, got distracted.
Was focal length fiddling?
Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. All right.
Fiddling is against TOS.
Depends what you're fiddling with. But yeah, see if you pan like left or right from
What are you
there.
talking about? Wait, what?
You
Yeah, well, what about?
right? Yeah, you see how now you're getting that that speeding up off the edges.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is
Wait, go
normal.
back. Yeah, zoom back out. Okay, now go left and right a few times. That you see that?
Yeah. All
That's
right.
what a happy dance it's doing. That's the kind of distortion that you get with different lenses.
Okay. So you're talking about camera light and optical view or something.
Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not.
Actually, I had the perfect GIF. Let's see if I can find it.
All right. This is really cool. It's such a great software.
Ha! Here it is.
Yeah.
How do I copy this?
All right. I close this.
All right, this thing's killing my phone.
Yeah. I'm gonna speed mine up. Let's see.
I had a couple mandarin oranges earlier. I'm quite expert in removing the skins. We could map flat Earths onto these if you want to, and they'd still make sense mathematically. You know.
All right. So I'm gonna reshare the screen, but I'm gonna speed this up as fast
That was
as
profound
I can.
and badass of me to say.
Mandarin's flat. What's going on?
So fucking high right now. All right. So here's the screen. I speed up the star trails. You can kind of see a circle there. There, it's pretty cool. Oh shit!
Trippy.
I think I'm at north directly. But yeah. Let me change the latitude. Hold on. I'll put 0.8 radians, whatever the fuck that is. Okay. Oh, 0.6. Let's do 0.6. There we go. Screen share again.
It's just I feel like we're mixing up a little bit for like what coordinate space is and what
I could put the camera here.
geometrical.
I can put the camera anywhere in the
That's good.
in the latitude spot. Longitude doesn't matter, but
It's conceptual. It doesn't involve cameras right now.
no, exactly.
Just a
It's just
idea.
it's just a nice little model to build. Just to learn how to
If
use
we have
this.
a Rubik's cube, we can know that like we have like the entire mapping of it correct, right? All the stickers in the right place. That every cube is cubey, right?
I could put any object wherever you want.
Because we have it in our hands. We fucking better well know what the hell's going on. When we don't have something in our hands, then we're kind of speculating on distance.
Oh shit! This is kind of... Oh my god!
If a Rubik's cube were like let's say 600 nautical miles per side, right? Would it be more difficult then to like accurately understand the acuity of its shape and coherency of that shape?
Can I wait? Can I go off topic?
I think I was going off topic. You can go off more topic if you like.
There's an object there that I put in there. So do you see that sphere moving? The little white dot in there.
I'm not watching your digital magic, mumbo jumbo.
I see it.
Yeah. To the flat earthers, what do you think that is?
Dead pixel?
Bird plane, Superman. What do you want?
Well, why does that white sphere does not move?
I don't know. What's the bit? It's your engine, bro.
The what? No, the white dot.
So you're thinking like me, is coordinate space the same as the geometrical concept of the idea? And I can understand that 100%. And I don't mean to derail you from being back on topic.
No,
but,
it's cool. I don't
yeah.
care. I really couldn't care less. No, but that white dot. The reason why you don't see it move is because that's in the axis of rotation. You wouldn't expect it to move. Well, it moves a little bit, but from the orientation. So that's an actual sphere placed in there. But you can see that this is circular. This is pretty circular to me. So yeah. So it looks pretty similar. So yeah. And I can already like sketch it and texture and map out orbits, paths, and everything. That's pretty actually straightforward now. I can build that.
So it's probably I can cover, but what's the actual purpose of this? What illustration or you build it?
No, it's an illustration of what you would see. Not the star trails itself. I know these are just dots on Windows Paint, but like this isn't like an illustration of like kind of what you would see in real life if you were to time lapse the stars. Same thing with like, but Stellarium is much more wonderful on that. So if you look,
I'd presume this is a pretty sort of early on sort of little project or something. Like you haven't
well,
actually gone out.
well, what I'm trying to convey is that the sky looks similar as to what you would look like on a spinning globe. And it just happens that they are very similar, coincidentally.
What would you expect to see on a flat Earth?
You ask me. I don't know. I'm not a flat earther.
Technically, I'd have to tell you.
I built an independent model from Stellarium, like something very independent. I put a sky dome, I put a sphere, I put a bunch of dots in there. That's all I did. I just put a bunch of dots, and I rotated the planet with the camera attached, and I orient the camera so that you can just rotate it east to west, or up or down, and that's it. So,
Are you familiar with who Space Audits or was those guys at all?
now we're gonna go off topic.
It's not off topic.
No, what about him?
He's got a model.
A flat Earth model?
Conceptual model, yeah.
Sure, you can share it, I guess. I can try and build one. I can like try and build like but it wouldn't work at out points though. But the globe does. So I'm
You
sorry.
got some
Well,
of
look,
man.
I'd whip it out and like tinker with it. Although he's bloody.
Flop it out, man.
Well, yeah.
Let's go.
Sorry, bad use of terminology.
Rick's law.
It's just that like he's basically kind of left it in this semi-broken state at the moment, sort of like a half a product. Maybe he's just lost interest or something. But it's it was working actually relatively well for a while there, and such is the nature of any project like that. I mean, it's sort of what do you call it? Confounding elements that sort of overlap one another. You gotta be pretty good at programming, and yeah. It looks like he started adding in a whole bunch of stuff, and it just started getting really messy on the page, and I don't know.
It broke then? Well, is there earlier revisions then, or no?
I don't know. There probably is actually. It's got it on GitHub.
You're supposed
to
keep the version going. That's why it's good.
Okay. Well, maybe it's there, and I could just go back through and find the one that was a little, I don't know, what do you call it, more stable or something?
Yeah. What's important is that we have something that we can have. You know what I mean? Not something that we can have for a couple weeks
cake and eat it too,
not have
or
anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I think someone needs to actually take it over.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to tell everything. You know what I mean? We just need one thing that like does the job, that we can have that, and somebody else can't remove it from the internet. But there should be like earlier versions of that people would have had backed up, right?
All he did was go ahead.
The thing is, we have softwares that we could download for free. We have Blender, we have Godot, we have Unity, we have more advanced engine softwares that you can get.
I don't want to tell you to shut your face. You know, it doesn't really matter if I have Godot. I have it takes a lot of compute power to actually put this code together, to take all this astronomical data and overlay it onto each other, to have it be a multimodal conceptual model that you can kind of switch from this, that, and the other thing. It ain't easy. That's why not everybody's just like going around and doing that every 5 minutes.
What? So the Earth is flat now?
Just sorry.
I mean, what's the question for? Yeah, you mean what you got a model, and what you expect us to think the Earth is round now, just because you got a little dinky model?
What are you guys even
We can
saying?
all do
Like,
that shit, bro. It's
I don't
easy.
understand this fucking conversation.
How
You showed your
detailed is your
model.
method?
Go ahead, Snakes.
You have like some kind of accurate mapping, accurate maths, accurate what is accurate about what you created? You said you had like a bunch of dots and a circle and a sphere or something like that. Like, are you seriously trying to like contemplate that that's like what am I supposed to do? Pat you on the head and say that's a great job? Is that what you want? A fucking cookie. Do you want that? If you will.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull
It's
up
not easy to
Alan's.
starting on this stuff is not easy. I think everybody deserves a cookie who tries.
Dude, all of Alan's work was done. Like the major leap forward was done in the first hour or two. He literally just took Walter Bisling's model and plumbed it into what I think is a Python script or something. I think it was Python that he used.
Well, sure.
And he's gone.
Yep. I don't know, what is it in like a web 3D or something? If people are running it on their browsers, it's got to be running on that.
I don't know these
I don't know.
wizard
I never
words,
took a look
man.
at the. I never
I
took
just
a look
press
at it.
buttons, okay?
Cool. Yeah. That's what's to do. How did that happen, by the way? Because I remember, like, I mentioned to you, like, here one day we're talking about some AI, and I was like, those guys got to do it, and then they just spontaneously did it. You said you were going to talk to them. Did that happen, or did they just it all just happened like the way it did?
I don't know. I mean, there was certainly no sort of attribution of the conversation that we'd previously had that I heard from them, so that ain't it.
No, no, and you didn't. And if you didn't directly go at either Alan or whatever, like directly, then it just happened. And then what would you say that I predicted? Would it be the future? I think so. I think you could say that accurately. I have done that.
Well, I was pretty excited when
I'll
I saw
forego
them
the coffee
tinkering, and
slurping
then
victory lap here.